Good evening. Let's call to order. Roll call, please.
Mike Davenport.
Here.
Christopher Espinoza.
Here.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Here.
Terry Pavicic.
Here.
Nancy Kupcha.
Here.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Here.
Jade Toledano.
Here.
We have a quorum. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Okay, I believe we start with student perspectives.
I'll invite Courtney up for North High here. You got to flip it on, I think. There you go.
There we go. Okay. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to recognize some students tonight. And tonight we're going to present to you our girls track team from the spring of 2021. And I'm going to let them come up here and talk all about their accomplishments. But I would first like to introduce our coaches, Matt Malatich and Tim McDonald. And they're going to introduce the girls to you, and the girls are going to talk a little bit about some amazing things that they did last spring. So thank you all.
All right, thank you for having us. First of all, I'm Matt Malatich. I'm the head coach for the girls track team. Just to introduce a couple people, we have Veronica Lasoto over here. Veronica's a junior this year. She's an excellent sprinter on our team. We got Claire Pine next to her. She's a junior as well. She's an excellent distance runner. We have Carly Harkness, another excellent distance runner. She's a sophomore. She actually was on the All-State 4x8 last year as a freshman. And we have Marley Kowalski right here. She's an excellent triple jumper. Her sister Elle is right here. Elle is an excellent long jumper and sprinter. And then that just walked in right here is Abby Streff. She was also All-State last year in the 4x1. She's a junior. Thank you for having us. It's an honor to be here. This team truly should be recognized because we've said many, many times this is the best team we might ever see. And it was the best team that we ever had. It was a weird year to have such a great team. But this team persevered through challenges around every corner, as everybody knows, contact tracing, just the sheer stress of competing during COVID, and they overcame everything. Elle's going to go through some of the accomplishments for us. Here's Elle Kowalski.
Hello, I'm Elle Kowalski. I am going to talk about a few of our accomplishments. There are quite a few. I'm super excited to be here and speak on behalf of my team. I'm also super proud to be a part of this team after everything we've accomplished last year. As you know, our season was cut short in 2020 as well as 2021, but we seriously outdid all expectations for this year, and we came out even stronger than anyone thought we ever could. Just to kind of put it in perspective, since the beginning of the season up until the state meet, we did not lose a single meet. That includes our conference champion and our sectional. So at the West Suburban Silver Conference, we had a historic amount of points scored, which was 183 points, and Downers Grove North athletes scored first in 11 out of the 18 events. A Division I athlete who went here, Kenna Chanot, she also now holds the West Suburban Silver Conference triple jump record, which is super impressive, and we're definitely going to miss her next year, but we'll persevere through for sure. Next was sectionals. This was the first time we have won sectionals since 1999. So it's definitely been a while, but it was super exciting to be a part of that team when we won this year, last year. To put it, show how well we compete against other schools, we scored 176 points and the runner-up scored 75. So we almost doubled their points, and not to brag, but that's kind of a bragging moment. And our athletes scored first in 12 out of our 18 events. And then the meet after that was our state meet, and although technically not a huge group of girls always qualify, you can still feel the love from our entire team from 3 hours away. There were a few girls who even came all the way down to EIU, and you just feel the support from everyone on the team. There's so much love that goes around, and I'm super proud to be a part of that. This was also another historical moment for us. We scored 26 points, which is super impressive. We've never scored that many points at a state meet before, so again, super proud to be a part of that and to contribute on the 4x1. As well as that, we have 3 new records up on our outdoor girls track and field board, which doesn't happen quite often. There's records up there from quite a while ago, so just to get 3 this year, especially after all the circumstances of years prior, we definitely worked our butts off to get that. And I'm super proud to be a part of this team and speak on behalf, and I'm really just looking forward to what we're going to accomplish this year. That's all.
I forgot to mention that Elle was also on the All-State 4x1 team, so not only a great speaker, she was on the 4x2 as well. We unfortunately weren't All-State in that event, but she did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you all, and congratulations. Thank you for representing us so well in so many different ways. It's great to finally get you here in front of the board and recognize you. And don't ever apologize for bragging. You did a great job.
That's right. We're so proud of you. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Not just the records, which we're very proud of, but just the team spirit. I mean, God bless you. We're proud of you.
A little closer to the
Sorry. We're just proud of you. We'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have student board members, questions and comments?
I can go.
I don't know who's going first.
All right, student board members.
So I'm going to go first. Some of the latest things that have happened at South since I last updated the board have to do with our sports teams. Both our boys and girls cross-country teams are still placing extremely high at their meets. Our boys golf team won conference, and both the girls and boys golf teams have moved on to regionals. Our football team is on a winning streak. With a rough start to the season, that's a plus. And the regular season for all our fall sports is wrapping up in the next few weeks, and then our teams will be off to their championship series with the hope of bringing some trophies back to South. Touching on the plays that I mentioned in the last update, the cast and crew are still working hard, preparing to put on spectacular performances. And one more thing I would like to talk about is our homecoming that happened this past Saturday. Homecoming this year was hosted outside, and all people in attendance had a lot of fun. The students loved the fireworks show to end the night. It was especially nice to have the dance again after not being able to have one last year. This was just another event that provided a little sense of normalcy back to the high school experience. I also want to congratulate our 9 students who were named National Merit Scholars and our 2 students who were commended. In the upcoming future, the winter sports season will be starting, and we can't wait to see what the Mustang teams accomplish this season.
Thank you, Scarlett. Jade?
Okay, so here at North, we've had a very busy couple weeks, and I don't think it's going to be stopping anytime soon. Last week, we had our theater present Blight Spirit, which was very fun. The set, it was up a couple days ago, and it looked incredible, and I know they're going to be working very hard for the next one that comes up. On the other side of our fine arts department, we also have a couple concerts in the upcoming. We have our choir concert on October 6th here at DGN, and our orchestra concert, which is very exciting because I'm part of it, on October 14th at DGS, which is going to be very exciting to be able to perform in the new auditorium that we have, so very exciting. Moving on to other things that are going to be happening. A lot of fundraisers are happening. Our student council is having a fundraiser tomorrow to be able, at Chipotle, to be able to fund future events, including our homecoming, which is coming up very soon. I know South just had theirs, but ours is coming up on the week of October 18th, which is very exciting. Like Scarlett said, to get a sense of normalcy back. Another fundraiser we also have is the No One Fights Alone fundraiser starting in the next couple days. We're selling t-shirts and stickers, which is very fun, to raise awareness for cancer. And I think it's a really important topic to touch on. And another one is also a fundraiser happening between our Empowerment Club and our Eating Disorder Initiative, which they're also going to be fundraising for NEDA, which is the National Eating Disorder Association, which I think is also very important to touch on. And another thing that we're also doing for our health is the Young Hearts for Life which is going on in this week on Thursday. We have early dismissal, but that organization is still coming in to do this really important exam on us for all the kids whose parents gave authorization. It's still not too late to sign up, so I think it's really important that if anybody still wants to sign up, the registration date is October 6th for the last people. And then moving on to something that also concerns how our students have been feeling in the last couple days. Last week, we unexpectedly lost one of our own here at DGN. Senior Mason Walters tragically passed away this last week. It hasn't just been hard on many of his friends and teachers, but on our whole community. And I'm thankful to go to a school where we as students are so close and united, and especially in these situations. We came together to mourn and to celebrate Mason's life and the legacy he leaves behind, not just as a friend or a student or an athlete, but as a person who taught us so much, and he'll be remembered by the content of his character. My deepest condolences go out to the Walters family. You are in our thoughts, and we're with you.
Thank you, Jade. Any questions from board members for our student board members?
Thank you both. We'll move on to the first reception of the visitors. The meeting includes 2 opportunities for comments from the audience. Does anyone in the audience wish to comment?
I don't believe we've received any slips.
Okay.
Is it speak, Nancy?
No?
Close to your microphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
We have received no comments for reception of visitors for public comment, so we'll move on to the board workshop for return to in-person learning.
All right, so return to in-person learning, a short report tonight. Just reminding everybody that up on our website is the list of all of the COVID activity for students. It's students that are close contacts and asymptomatic we report each week, and we also report positive cases that we've had. We've been pretty consistent of less than 10 positive cases each week and less than 20 close contacts each week. We did, if you remember, I think at some point I discussed with the board that we were not reporting staff numbers because they were so small on the dashboard, but we've gone back and we're just going to start updating at the end of each month how many cases we had for each month. Hopefully our numbers stay very low for our staff. We're a little over 96% vaccinated for all of our staff. Although, we know there are breakthrough cases and those kinds of things. But we figure with the low case numbers, we want to be transparent for our community and let everybody know how many cases we're experiencing. But we also want to keep staff's privacy as well. So we think this is a nice balance of reporting that. So you can see in August, we had 2 weeks of school and we had 2 cases. In September, we had 6.
So how many do we have quarantining right now, students?
It's hard to say how many we have actually quarantined at any one time because they can overlap and where they start and end, depending on whether they had symptoms or didn't. But looking at that rolling average, we probably have about 20 to 30 students out of school at any one time for COVID-related incidents.
And that's both schools combined?
That's both schools combined. Yeah, if I broke it out by school, it'd be getting small enough numbers that I'd be concerned about student privacy as well.
Yep.
All right, so we update that on the district website every Monday morning. So by midday Monday, that should be updated for folks that are looking for it. Test to stay protocol, we've been talking about this over the last couple of months. Right now, we're not recommending moving forward with this at this time. You can see our quarantine numbers are low, and of course we want to keep as many kids in school as we can. The challenge with the guidelines right now is that for you to qualify for test to stay, you would have to be following all of the protocols for when the contact happened. And most of our contacts that are tracking back to school are happening at lunch, when you remove your mask to eat, or at athletics, where you have close contact. any student that is being quarantined and it tracks back to those settings isn't eligible for test to stay. So this is a pretty heavy lift to put this in place. A very small number of our students would qualify for it. And right now, we have a few nurses out as well, so this isn't a time where I can recommend that we go this direction. However, we do have several, especially elementary schools in the area, who can't have students out or exempt out of quarantine because of vaccination, because they're not eligible to be vaccinated. So I think this is an area where you're going to see a lot of elementary schools push quickly into, especially, and some of our elementary partners as well. I meet with them on a weekly basis. We're constantly talking about this. So we're going to just monitor it. We'll see if our numbers start to tick up a little bit, then it might change our opinion as an administration. But right now, we're just going to closely monitor and see how it goes, and kind of keep tabs on how many students would have been impacted by a test to stay. But as I said, right now would be a very small number. So, and our students do have a pathway to get out of, to be exempt from quarantine and being vaccinated. Like I said, our elementary partners do not have that option. So right now it's just monitor and keep reassessing. This is a reoccurring topic in our administrative team meetings. Questions on this? All right, that's it for the return to school update. I'm going to turn this over to Rob and Jeff on a presentation on staff recruiting and hiring. We bring this to the board each fall.
Good evening, board. So as Hank said, Jeff and I are here to give the annual update on staff recruiting and hiring, particularly about actions that we took this past spring and now that we see in our staff today. So to start out, I just want to bring us back to our mission statement. In particular, those first two underlined words in our mission statement is the caring and challenging environment for our students. That's what we strive to create. And to create that, we need a staff that's caring and challenging. So this gets into the criteria that our selection teams look for when they go to hire an individual for a position. I'll start us over on the right-hand side, the challenging. That's everything we think about, a classroom teacher or a parapro or anybody that's really working in our buildings. Is we want our staff to be experts in their profession. We want them to have high expectations of their students and of each other. And we also want them to understand how the brain learns so they can structure learning for students that's appropriate for them. The other side is the caring. While the challenging part is there, the caring is we need personality traits and we need background experiences to be able to care for our students. So we need every single one of our staff members to be student-centered. We need them to be empathetic coaches. And for our staff to be able to empathize with all of our students, collectively on our staff, we need a variety of shared lived experiences and we need a variety of shared social identities so we can empathize with all of our students. So that's the large profile of what we're looking for each hiring season. I just want to remind you some challenges that we see as we go out and try to recruit and find people for these positions. Should come as no surprise, we report every year there's a national shortage of individuals who are going into the education field. That's both classroom teachers and our support staff and our CMG staff and administrators. Just collectively, there's a challenge there nationwide. We also have a challenge within the state of Illinois that there's pretty limited pipelines to allowing somebody to get their license or their certification to fill some of these roles. There's been some improvements over the past few years, but the challenge still exists. The third point down here really leads to that first point, which is we also are battling a perception of the profession. So there are some negative perceptions of what it means to work in education, and that unfortunately is leading fewer and fewer people to choose education as their field of work. So we have that we're working through. And then the other is there's always a challenge, particularly in the western suburbs here, is that we're competing with other school districts for the best candidates. So there's fewer people, and so it creates this competition field between the school districts. But The good news is we've got Jeff, and Jeff's primary role in all of this is to go out and, with all of these challenges happening, find people to apply for our jobs. So he's going to talk to you about some new and unique ways that we've been recruiting some candidates. There are increased, like I said, in Illinois, some increased pathways for an individual to get their license or their certification for particular jobs. He'll touch briefly on one powerful thing we have going for us is the reputation of District 99, and that while there is a shortage, people, as they are coming in for interviews, are telling us the only reason why I applied for this is because it's District 99. So we have a really good reputation out there. And then also how Jeff and his professional networks is trying to change that competition mindset between districts into one in which there's coordination to try collectively across districts to fill in some of these gaps and to find candidates for these positions. So I'll hand it over to Jeff now, and he can talk through things that he's been working on.
All right, thank you, Rob. So I'm going to start off, just as I said, Rob mentioned, touching on what are some of the methods that we are using for recruiting staff here to District 99. Some of these are tried and true methods, a couple things that are a little bit newer perhaps. Obviously this past year with the pandemic, job fairs were not plentiful. The year before there were apparently none. I managed to get to 2. They were virtual, and that was with some reach out trying to find some. So hoping that things will move up in that regard for this coming school year. In fact, I've already signed up for one with a local university here in the state as well. The other thing we're trying to do, not only with our certified positions, but with all of our positions, is a more social media promotion. If you've been on Facebook or Twitter or perhaps LinkedIn, you've probably seen postings for things. It's still ongoing. As I mentioned, for some positions we still have open in our support staff, but we were trying to do that in the spring as well for our certified staff positions and all of our positions. One thing that's a little bit newer is trying to reach out and connect with some more national tools and some more national job boards. Idea of this is trying to be a little bit more proactive than passive. Instead of traditionally just posting our jobs on our website and hoping people come and find us, is also trying to do a little bit more, hey, we're out here in this area, because if you're not from the Chicagoland area, you might not have ever heard of Downers Grove and not think about coming to work for District 99. So trying to get our name out there to different regions of the country through these other job boards. And that leads into my next point there, which is personal outreach. So starting last spring when we were looking at this, I've been reaching out to different universities in various regions of the country, just trying to connect with their education departments, make sure that our name is out there as a district and that people know that we're interested in having their students come to our district and get a chance to interview them and see what they can bring to filling all the various goals we have that Rob mentioned in terms of finding ideal candidates here for our students. The next one on there is the networking. So NWPA, which is the group of human resource professionals from the burbs out here that I work with. Just had a meeting with them Friday. We meet monthly, and that's really, really an outstanding group. For those of you that were here when Pete was here, you may have heard him mention them before, and what a tremendous resource that is. Even though we are all high school districts that are, as Rob mentioned, we're competing for some of the same people, it really is a nice platform of support. Trying to help each other find tools, find resources. I just connected with them today, said, hey, we need a substitute for this position that we're having a little trouble finding an applicant for. Can you please, share this with your networks as well? So definitely a very collaborative approach on that front. And then, as Rob mentioned, our district reputation, the work that we're currently doing has been tremendous. As I was, we have our online digital interviews that are the first screeners for our candidates, and I go through, and some of those I watch more intently. Some of them I just kind of pick and choose every once in a while depending on the position and just kind of spot check, see what we have coming in. And it's really interesting to me how frequently, even doing that on a random basis, we have people talking about the reputation and not just saying, oh, Downers Grove is a great place, but specifically mentioning things like our master's facility plan, some of the work we're doing with blended learning they've heard about, and all these different things that are district initiatives that people are able to speak to and are excited to be a part of with what we have going on here at the district. So some things by the numbers for you. This is related to our certified staff positions from this past spring, so our teachers, counselors, those types of things. We posted 25 certified positions, and we did manage to fill all those positions prior to the start of school. We had 954 applicants in our pool. 135 of those self-identify themselves as diverse. So as we're thinking about the district goal here to try and, as Rob mentioned, have staff that reflect the varied natures of our students. One of the things we look for is, does our staff look like our students overall, and trying to make that a closer relationship. So we did have 25 candidates of color that were brought in for in-person interviews. 8 of those ultimately we did target for hire. We ended up adding 4 to our staff. The other 4 at some point, either as we were making them the offer or shortly before, accepted offers from other districts. So as Rob mentioned, there is a competition for districts to do that. A large majority of staffs are not as diverse as maybe our student populations are, so we're trying to address that across the board, and that's all over the suburbs. So some considerations going forward. What are we doing to continue on? And what do we need to think about? So District 99 has full-time hiring not been affected by the teacher shortage yet. I stress that because as we were able to fill all 25 of our certified positions for the spring, or from the spring into the fall here, we do have some issues still staffing some of our leaves that we have coming up for FMLA. We've got a couple long-term leaves. They have all been very challenging to fill. And the pool of teachers applying for various positions is not as deep as it once was. In some cases, we're talking about maybe a dozen to 20 applicants. In some cases, for very selective positions, such as our social workers, psychologists, those pools can be even thinner. And so those are difficult positions to fill. So we are still kind of watching that and trying to do various things to continue to attract talent to the district. As I mentioned, support staff, those shortages are already here. We have several support staff positions currently that are unfilled, and we're trying to look at ways to promote that and continue to bring people in. And that's not unique to District 99. As I mentioned, networking with the NWPA, everyone is experiencing the same shortage right now in terms of those staffing positions. Definitely looking to continue job fairs. As I mentioned, 2 from last spring. I think typically the district, we would attend around 8 or 9 at least, so looking to return to that number here and currently working on the networking to get that going. And in terms of examining national job boards, we're going to continue to look at that. We did have some applicants come from those when we tried, so we're going to continue to dip our toes in that pool and see if it can do things. And as I mentioned, some other tools that allow us to proactively recruit talent from across the country, where we can look at list of candidates and then send them and connect with them instead of, again, waiting for them to come to us. And then one other thing that's a newer thing that is position we're bringing to the district. I believe we're down to a couple finalists for this, is the Education Pathways Coordinator. You may have heard that mentioned before. A very interesting position here we're bringing on where we'll have a staff member who's going to work with our own students to kind of shepherd them through their high school years into college, and those are students who are specifically interested in going into the education field. So we create our own homegrown pipeline so that if we have students who are interested in a career in education, they're not going to be ended up going somewhere else. We can try to bring them back home to District 99 then hopefully. Any questions on?
So, yeah, real quick. So just to summarize, we know specifically what we're looking for each hiring season. And while there's a national shortage on workers in any field, and we've historically had that in education also. So while there's challenges that are there, one thing that excites me is I think about what is the pandemic, what are some positives, and it's caused us to really think differently about, instead of passively just posting a position, how do we actively go out and find people that fit the profile of what we're looking for? So Jeff's been doing a really good job. There's frequent times he'll come into my office and say, hey, what about, and we process that and think about, is this a way that we could be creative solving this issue? Okay, any questions for us?
I had a question about the Education Pathways Coordinator. And maybe you said this, but I was having trouble hearing. We're trying to encourage our students who are interested in education to return. Are we providing any kind of incentive for them?
I'm sorry?
Are we providing any kind of incentive for them like tuition or sign-on bonus or something or other?
Yeah, we haven't gone that far yet. Right now, we're just trying to start the position up. It is a new position.
Okay.
And start kind of letting that grow, but that's certainly something that possibly could be considered in the future, I suppose.
Yeah, we don't offer specific incentives. And, we have the Intro to Teaching class, so
Right.
there's a course there. And then this position Jeff was talking about is structuring it in a way of helping students choose courses that could lead them into a career in education.
Okay, thank you.
And I will take this opportunity to share with the board that tomorrow, one of our students, Gracie, over at South, will be featured on the AASA, that's the Superintendent's Association for the United States. Our Education Pathways program, our Intro to Teaching program, and Gracie, one of our students, will be featured in kind of how to do this, how to grow your own. So we'll be sharing that on the national level tomorrow, and I hope to have a recording of that to share with the board afterwards.
Any other comments or questions?
All right. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
We have one action item for tonight. We need a motion for the Board of Education to adopt the resolution authorizing July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2026 performance-based superintendent's contract with Dr. Henry Thiele, and to adopt the 2021-2026 performance-based superintendent's contract with Dr. Thiele.
So moved.
Second. I think Mike and Terry?
Mike Davenport.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
No.
Nancy Kupka.
Aye. The motion carries, and I am honored that we'll have Dr. Thiele for another 5 years.
Thank you, board.
Finally, we have a second reception of visitors, which is intended for audience members to address the board on any topic pertaining to Community High School District 99.
We've received no additional slips.
Okay. Seeing none, we need a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Yay. 30 minutes.